This is 90.3 KEDM Monroe, a public radio service of the University of Louisiana Monroe. I'm Cory, Crowe. Good morning. We will preempt our programming today for a special announcement that will come from Baton Rouge in just a moment as Louisiana's governor set to enact a lot of things in motion today, talking about the biggest of all, the event that will announce the Meta AI facility. Now, we're here in the studios of KEDM Public Radio this morning. I'm Cory Crowe. I'm here with KEDM General Manager Jay Curtis, and together we're going to jump in throughout the day. Jay, this is a big, huge announcement for Northeast Louisiana.
It really is a huge announcement when we're talking about a project that was originally huge at a $10 billion investment. And now that's already grown from $10 billion to a $27 billion by investment into Northeast Louisiana by Meta. And what we're expecting for this announcement this morning is actually a doubling of that again up to $50 million investment. And Cory has more details. We're talking about the size of the data center. It was a 2 gigawatt project initially, and it's now more than doubling to 5 gigawatts.
Yeah, the facility is enormous. And if you've ever been to New York, if you've been to Manhattan, the facility that you see here is about 3/4 of the island of Manhattan. That was the proposal. Now the facility would grow even more. And they said that this facility could do what they call hyperscale and kick up a notch. And it very well looks like that is what is going to happen. Now, we're waiting on the governor and a lot of dignitaries down in South Louisiana in Baton Rouge today at the LED Center. We've got a delegation of folks from North Louisiana. And, Jay, you've been calling down, talking to folks all morning that have headed down this morning and are there getting ready to get things started, right?
A lot of folks on the road this morning, from very, very early to this morning to, I imagine a few people went down last night. But we hope to be able to talk to a number of folks who can react to some of what this impact is going to mean for Northeast Louisiana. Because as big as this project has been, and as much as we've explored that over the last 10 to 12 months, this is an even bigger announcement and even more exciting for the long-term potential of having this kind of economic growth across Northeast Louisiana.
Now, it sounds like the fun is getting ready. They've got the Zydeco music playing.
So we expect the governor's
So we're thinking the governor's is coming very soon here today as the Zydeco music has now stopped. We'll get ready for that. But we're going to be here this morning, and then we'll have reaction from local leaders. And there is the governor of the state of Louisiana who is making the announcement or getting ready to make the announcement.
Innovator, a dynamic distribution hub. And we fuel and feed the world. In Louisiana, we do all of that because our greatest natural resource is our people.
Work is already picking up, and being this busy this fast is exciting for me and for all of our families.
So it's our people we are choosing to invest in.
I've been here over 20 years, cooking away, living out my dream. But just recently, that dream has expanded because of all this growth. This is the same good old Louisiana I know and love. But I'm seeing new possibilities walk through my door every single day.
From how we take advantage of new technologies to how we take care of one another, our neighbors. When Louisiana leads, opportunity will follow.
The way I see it, more businesses coming means more opportunity for everybody.
We all believed there would be a time when Louisiana's potential turns to progress, a day when growth of our economy matches the strength of our spirit.
In education, all of our views are very positive just because we are training up these children and now they see opportunity that is here and it's local. Louisiana showed it believes in teachers like me, and now I believe that our next generation will see a new dawn across this state.
That day is here. That time has come. This is Louisiana Now.
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 And this is 90.3 KEDM special coverage of the big announcement coming up right now in Baton Rouge.
Well, good morning. How are y'all? I'm so excited. I'm telling you, we had an unbelievable dinner last night. It was really great. And for everyone who's here, these are the moments that Louisiana has been waiting for generations. For generations. But I think for a moment, I just want to speak not only to Louisiana, but to America. Imagine for just one moment if every data center in America went dark for just 24 hours. Businesses would lose access to payroll, email, inventory, customer records, cloud software. Hospitals would struggle to access critical care for those that we love. Manufacturers, ports, retailers, logistic companies would slow to a crawl. Everyone in America would suddenly realize that nearly every part of modern life as we appreciate it today would come to a halt. It would be as if every gas station ran out of gas when you got up this morning. And just as highways move people and commerce, data centers move information. They are the backbone of a digital economy and the foundation upon which artificial intelligence will be built. The next generation of economic growth will not simply be measured in barrels of oil or tons of steel. It will be measured in electrical generation, megawatts, computing power, energy capacity, and the ability to build the infrastructure that powers artificial intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the next industrial revolution. And history teaches us that new technology creates more jobs than that new technology destroys. And the question isn't whether it will happen. The question is where will it happen? And today, I can proudly tell you that it is going to happen in Louisiana. Just as Louisiana powered America during the Industrial Revolution, today we stand on the cusp of leading in the AI revolution. The same state, this very state that is now powering America and the globe with natural gas, LNG exports, manufacturing, petrochemicals, is now going to lead America's AI future. Louisiana's advantage is still its energy strength and the infrastructure that supports it. And that's not by accident. It's because we made a decision that Louisiana would compete again. And over the past 2.5 years, with many of those who are in this audience today, we cut taxes, we reformed regulations, we improved our legal environment, we accelerated permitting, We invested in workforce development. We modernized our state government, and we produced one of the most pro-business states in America. And guess what? Companies around the world have noticed. Today's announcement means, I can't believe the number. Well, it's so crazy because I remember when I was, Dina didn't even know. I mean, like, we have to keep you around because this story is unbelievable. Because many of these legislators and many of these people here today are from North Louisiana where there was nothing going on. And when I went in and campaigned up there, Sharon and I told people from North Louisiana that we were going to bring economic development to them, they really just thought I was another one of those politicians running for governor that was lying. They voted anyhow. I want you to know they have confidence. But today's announcement means that since the beginning of 2024, the state of Louisiana has now secured more than $150 billion in announced capital investment. That is not just a number. It's thousands of families who now have opportunities that did not exist. It's communities that finally get to see a future. It's young people who can begin to build careers here in Louisiana instead of having to seek those opportunities elsewhere. Today's announcement is just another major milestone in that. But I want you to understand that the foundation for what will absolutely become Louisiana's pivotal moment in time began with Meta. It literally began with Meta. And so for that, I want to personally thank Dina, Paul, and all, where's the Meta team around here? Y'all raise your hands. When Meta first chose Richland Parish, they made a tremendous choice. It was a vote of confidence. Today, they have multiplied that investment in a way that places Louisiana at the center, as I said, of one of the most important technology investments anywhere in the world. This expansion brings Meta's investment to, like I said, over $50 billion, making it the largest data center development in the history of the world. Biggest one in America. I mean, it's going to create 7,500 construction jobs, more than 1,000 permanent high-paying jobs, nearly 1,900 additional indirect jobs. And it just goes on and on. It's like a gift that just continues to keep giving. That impact that Meta has had alone right now, and this is I'm so proud to say, today Meta proudly boasts that over $1.6 billion of contracts for this project have gone to Louisiana businesses. Because of this project, teachers in Richland Parish are now the highest paid teachers in the state of Louisiana. He doesn't like me saying it. It's true. That's true. He's like, don't tell everyone. It's true. I mean, teachers in Richland Parish went from one of the lowest paid to now one of the highest paid. Tina, that is just like, that is opportunity. That is how you lift people out of poverty. That's how you fix a broken state. And I want to tell you, I just cannot go on just bragging about Meta. I want to take a personal note too. I want to recognize Meta for their generous contribution of $150,000 that they are going to give alongside of the First Lady's Foundation, Loved One Foundation, towards Avals Parish and the flood victims. It's just another great example of their commitment to Louisiana. They are here to stay. And that's exactly what great economic development does. It should create opportunity for everyone. And it should be a partnership. And none of this happens without strong partners. That means Meta. That means Entergy. That means Susan Bourgeois and Susie Schoen and LED and Workforce and the great work they do. And I also want, look, the press is here, and I'm going to continue to say this. While there are some criticism around the country about this new revolution, about this new era in America, I want you to know that Meta was the first. They were the first company to recognize how to engage in this type of build out responsibly. And when they came to Louisiana and we sat down with Entergy, we did it in a way that ensured that our citizens don't pay for this build out. In fact, our citizens are paid. In other words, they are going to recognize electrical generation savings in their utility bills and a build out in Louisiana's electrical infrastructure. And that's important. For too long, people talked about Louisiana's potential. Today, they are talking about Louisiana's performance. The momentum that we are seeing today is real. And the world is taking notice. And we're going to keep leading because we're going to keep building, because we're building a foundation for the next generation of American prosperity. So to everyone at Meta, whether you're here or watching this, I want to say thank you. I want to say welcome to Louisiana. And I want you to know that you have now become an integral part in the family that we call Louisiana. And when you become a family member in Louisiana, that means we never leave you. And we never let you leave either. It's kind of like the mob, Dina. You come in, you can't get out. But I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for transforming the lives of so many people, and so many great things are going to happen. And thank you for getting us to $150 billion of private investment. May God bless you. Thank you so very much.
Wow. Good morning, Louisiana. It is such an honor for my colleagues that are here from Meta and frankly all around the country and I to be here with you. Rachel Pearson and I could not be more proud to join the governor and his whole team to make this announcement. And I want to say something right at the top very clearly. Without Governor Landry, this investment would not have been possible. The governor didn't just welcome this company here to Louisiana. He made sure that we made the commitments that were going to make every single citizen in Louisiana better off. And we could not have been more proud, as he said, to have that playbook and that roadmap. Louisiana is the envy of every state, and you are talking to a Texas girl. So I can tell you, I cannot believe that we are able to work with all of you and our partners at Energy, the incredible team that the governor has assembled, one of the best economic development teams we have ever worked with. Thank you, Susan Bourgeois, for everything that you have done. I think it's really important, as the governor said, to speak very openly about some concerns that people have in this state and across the country about what does this kind of an investment really mean. And for us at Meta, it really means that we care about the people that we're working with, that we want to be the very best partners that this state could possibly have. I know the numbers are exciting and large, but it is the individual stories that have really touched our hearts. Richland Parish is an awfully special place here in Louisiana, and it is becoming a role model for the country. I would love to ask the people from Richland Parish to please stand up so we can give you a huge round of applause. The teachers, the small business owners, the contractors.
You're watching KEDM special coverage, listening on 90.3 KEDM, video on our website, KEDM.org. This is special coverage of the Meta announcement of the increase in size of the Hyperion facility in Richland Parish, live in Baton Rouge.
The fact that you care so much about investing in this next generation, the most important gift that you can give all of us. I think that those bonuses say a lot more about how the school district and the parish believed in where those tax surplus revenue should go straight to you. And I think Governor Landry should do it all around the state as a new policy for every teacher in Louisiana. I do want to tell you, uh-oh, did I get him in trouble? It has been so inspiring to see these stories of small business owners growing. And I want to just say a really important message that we feel at Meta. You know, today in America, only 20% of small business owners are using AI. The 20% that use it are actually doubling and tripling their market share, their customer base. They're getting 6 and 7 hours back a day with that efficiency. And guess what they're doing? Hiring more people. And so I really want to send one important message, which is that we hope 80% more will join and use these tools to make them the most effective companies possible. And I also want to talk a little bit about the workforce. We could not be more proud of the almost 10,000 jobs that are being created in Richland Parish for citizens of Richland Parish. A few weeks ago, we announced something called America's Workforce Academy. This program, which was really developed by Rachel and the incredible infrastructure team at Meta, is a fast track 5-week program that you are paid while you are getting the training to be job site ready. You actually get a license and a guaranteed job on a Meta data center site. The reason that is so important is that so many jobs are open right now. More than 500,000 open construction, electrician, welding jobs over the next couple of years in America. But people who want those jobs are often living paycheck to paycheck and aren't able to quit their job for a few weeks to do training and pay for that training. So we are really excited that this program encourages many Louisianans to go through this program, have the license. Hopefully you'll pick a Meta job site, but the license goes with you forever. And the reason we called it America's Workforce Academy was very purposeful. You know, yesterday I had the privilege of being in New Orleans and visiting the World War II Museum. Louisiana played such a huge role in what the sacrifices that led to America fighting tyranny in the world. Louisiana was actually a state that physically helped build the arsenal that defeated that terror in the world. And when you think about the heroes in Louisiana today that are on the front line, just as the governor said, building a new kind of arsenal, a new kind of technology that will make sure the United States of America is the winner at the end of the day. So we are encouraging everyone to apply to America's Workforce Academy. And I just want to close by saying, this is a pretty special state. The spirit of this state, no matter what hits it, you always get back up. And as a country, we all saw that. But the work ethic, the values, the faith, and the community, I think those are the things that honestly make us so unbelievably proud to be your partner. And as we told the governor yesterday, when Rachel came a couple of years ago to start this partnership, it's kind of like dating. But now we are married and we are here for the long haul, and we could not be more proud to be your partners. Thank you so, so much.
You're listening to special coverage of the Meta press conference in Baton Rouge.
Richland Parish was the place that opportunity forgot about.
I've grown up here my whole life, and I've seen a lot of people move away looking for work, including my son.
What you were hearing a lot lately was, there's nothing here for us anymore. We knew that having a data center would give us an industry here that we haven't had before. That's a huge investment in our community.
We started this business simply because Meta was coming.
We thought we had hit it big when we got to cater for 40 people. Now we do 400 a week.
Since Meta came to town, we've hired more employees.
A multi-billion-dollar capital investment like the one that Meta is making in Richland Parish feels transformative. It's extremely exciting to attract and retain quality teachers.
So when I first got the news about the bonus, it was jaw-dropping. My mouth was literally wide open.
We're not in it for the money. We're teachers because it's in our heart. But the bonus has been extremely helpful.
With the investment that Meta has made in our community, now we can do a better job of taking care of our own.
I do feel a lot of hope for the future of my students. It gives them the opportunity if they never thought that they would have.
And I would say one of the biggest things is people coming back home.
You know, the future is happening here and happening now.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Dina. Hello, everyone. I'm Susan Bourgeois. I'm Secretary of Economic Development for Louisiana, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be here with you this morning. You know, it's interesting in these two videos, though they're from two different perspectives, I don't think any of us can still fully describe the impact that this investment and this decision on behalf of Meta is having. And one of the clearest examples, as you've heard, is what it's doing for education, for students, for the schools in Richland Parish. And few people have witnessed that transformation more closely than our next speaker. As superintendent of the Richland Parish Schools, he's helped this community through a remarkable period of progress while keeping the focus exactly where it belongs, on the students and on their futures. You saw him in the video, but you'll hear it, and more importantly, you'll feel it when he speaks. Please join me in welcoming Superintendent Sheldon Jones.
This is live special coverage from KEDM of the press conference going on in Baton Rouge announcing the expansion of the Meta project in Richland Parish.
On behalf of the board members, employees, and stakeholders of the Richland Parish School Board, we'd like to congratulate Meta on expanding its capital investment in our local data center. Since the groundbreaking ceremony in 2024, we have worked collaboratively to build a sustainable, mutually beneficial partnership, one that expands well beyond infrastructure. Meta's presence has made a tangible difference in our classrooms, from funding STEM resources and technology upgrades to workforce development initiatives. This partnership is directly strengthening the educational experience for Richland Parish and making our school district a top spot for educator talent. Meta has shown that corporate investment can go hand in hand with genuine community partnership and support the people who shape the next generation. While there are many who deserve thanks and gratitude, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge Mr. Scott Franklin. Mr. Franklin, thank you for your vision. Thank you for your leadership in our community. I'd like to introduce Mangum High School teacher and coach Scott Wilcher to share his experience.
Well, I'm kind of out of my element here. I'm just a country football coach from Mangum, Louisiana, and I'm sitting up here with a governor and all these people. Wow, wow. But I will say this. Coaching, when I got involved in this 32 years ago, me and my wife, we just tried to make a difference. And we want to make a difference in young men and young women. And I use that term, make a difference, because, Governor, y'all have made a difference in Richland Parish. Meta, y'all have made a difference. And y'all have made a difference in my life. Now, everybody talks about the bonuses, and they're great, okay? And I'm tickled to death. But I'm also one that likes to look at the big picture, okay? And with me on my way out, now because Meta did bring this in here and the governor, I probably got about 10 more years. My wife will not let me retire. I've really got 2, but she will not let me retire. No, but seriously, the long-term investment that people don't understand with the bonuses. And I look at Reagan and I look at these young teachers and I look at my daughter who is a young teacher just starting off her first year in Richland Parish at Mangum Junior High teaching. What people do not understand, this affects our retirement. My retirement, because of the bonuses, just doubled. My daughter's not going to have to worry. Reagan's not going to have to worry. They're getting their top 3 years as we go along right now. And that's the biggest thing. Is making a difference in people's lives. And that's what we do as educators. That's what we do as coaches. That's what we do as big business. That's what we do as the governor, is making a difference. And I appreciate y'all doing that for our small parish of Richland and our very small school of Mangum. Y'all keep up with Mangum football this year. Roll Dragons. All right. Oh, I'm in Louisiana. Go Dragons. I'm sorry. Go Dragons. I always said roll. I'm sorry. But go Dragons. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Coach. I think you get what I mean when I say impact, right? And that impact doesn't just stop in Richland Parish or in Northeast Louisiana. And that's the other remarkable part about all of this. Back in 2024, when we were working on this project at the beginning, the governor made it very clear to Meta and the folks who were coming in that Louisiana has some of the best contractors and suppliers and vendors in the world, and that we expected them to be part of this project. And of course, Meta agreed happily. And they said, great, give us the list. And this is a true story, but you know what didn't exist? The list. So then the governor looked at Susan and said, Susan, make sure y'all make a list. And so incredibly proudly, our team in just 9 months' time put together a resource called Source Louisiana. It's the first ever online database of Louisiana contractors and vendors. And in 9 short months' time, we have 3,000 vendors signed up, Louisiana contractors. And as part of today, we're thrilled that Source Louisiana has become Meta's primary subcontractor portal for this entire project. And it's just another way that we're making sure Louisiana businesses have the direct connection to what these historic investments can really mean. So our next speaker is the exact kind of business leader that we built Source Louisiana to support. While many of you will know him from his championship days at Alex Box or his World Series victories with Major League Baseball, today he joins us as an owner and partner in Baton Rouge-based Parish Aggregates. His company is performing work on Meta's project, and earlier this year, Parish Aggregates became the first recipients of the Source Louisiana Vendor of the Year, recognizing the quality, professionalism, and capabilities that Louisiana businesses bring to projects of this scale. Please join me in welcoming Ryan Terrio.
This is special coverage live from Baton Rouge, the big Meta announcement this
Governor
morning.
Landry, Secretary Bourgeois, President Powell McCormick, and attendees here. Appreciate you guys having me. A few weeks ago, Secretary Bourgeois and LED named us, Parish Aggregate, Louisiana's Source Vendor of the Year. We're grateful for that recognition. And today, right here in Louisiana, we're putting that award to work. Because before the first server was built, before the first slab, before the first wall went up at the site, there was a foundation that had to be built. And over the past year, Parish Aggregates has moved more than 1 million tons of aggregate to Richland Parish. Limestone, sand, and fill material delivered by barge and truck through general contractors doing the hard work in the field. 1 million tons in a single year. That's the literal foundation that the largest data center Meta has ever built now stands on. We're proud of that because it was done with Louisiana logistics by Louisiana people for a Louisiana project, putting Northeast Louisiana on the map. President Powell McCormick, your job is to build this infrastructure. Ours at Parish is to put something under the ground for it to stand on. So in preparation for the upcoming expansion, the foundation is ready, and so is Parish, ready to move the next 1 million tons. Governor, Secretary Bourgeois, and Meta, thank you guys so much for betting on this part of our state. We're honored to help and build it, 1 ton at a time.
Thank you, Ryan. You know, this project really does represent the very best of Louisiana, and it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of leadership, Governor, partnership, Dina, and shared commitment to making Louisiana stronger. And I want to thank the governor for challenging us all to think differently about economic development and making sure that these kinds of investments benefit all of Louisiana. I want to thank Meta for your continued confidence in our state and our people. To our legislative partners, to Entergy, to Grow NELA, to our fellow state agencies, to educators, to community leaders, thank you all, everyone in this room and well beyond, for making this project possible. And finally, I want to recognize the folks who do all the work and get very little of the credit. The incredible team at Louisiana Economic Development. To Paige Carter, and Devin Harrison, who has worked on this project since day one. To Chris Kassan, who he and his team put Source Louisiana together and got 3,000 people registered in 9 months. Michael Tepper, who worked with the Franklin family very closely, Dina, to make sure your site was available, ready, and more to come. And all the other members of our team who worked tirelessly behind the scenes. Thank you all, LED. With over $150 billion now announced, we could not be more proud of what our LED team has done for Louisiana. So today, this project and this milestone sends a very clear message to companies around the world. Louisiana isn't just attracting transformational investment. We're proving that we deliver again and now again. Thank you for joining us all today. For the media, interviews will take place in the conference room immediately following the event. And for our guests, please join us for hospitality and some food and a tour of our new Innovation Center. Thank you all for coming.
This is 90.3 KEDM special coverage of the big announcement in Baton Rouge as Meta is going to more than double their facility in Richland Parish. I'm Cory Crowe here with Jay Curtis, and we're talking about this, and we sort of got a heads up that this was going on this early before the weekend, and everybody was tight-lipped. But I heard somebody go, I said, you know, how big is this? And they were like, oh, it's bigger than what's there. And I was like, that seems impossible. But it's not. This is actually double the size, Jay, and it is a very big deal.
It is a very big deal. You just heard at the very tail end of that. That's Louisiana Secretary of Economic Development, Susan Bourgeois, just highlighting some of the things that that she had to say along the way, looking at the kind of growth that everything has changed, being able to stand up on a statewide basis the Source Louisiana portal for contractors. We heard briefly from Ryan Terrio, who is with Parish Aggregates. They named him the Vendor of the Year inside that portal from right up here in Northeast Louisiana. But from the beginning of this, Governor Landry expanding expressing his thanks and telling the story that when we first saw Jeff Landry campaigning for governor, and he said, oh, he's going to bring economic development to North Louisiana. The story as he told it was, yeah, a lot of people kind of nodded their heads and smiled and said, yeah, we've heard this before. There's another governor, actually a governor coming up to make those promises. But in this fact, actually, $50 billion, and now the state celebrating over $150 billion in total economic development in the Landry administration. I don't care whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whether you voted for Landry or not. That's a big deal, and we can celebrate what that means for Northeast Louisiana. Over the course of the morning, still, we're going to try to get some of the folks who can better describe the impact than what we do. But to recap, initially this project, $10 billion, 4 million square foot project, but the 5 gigawatt target, which was one that was set by Mark Zuckerberg, saying it could eventually grow from 2 gigawatts to 5 gigawatts. But now we're looking at an expanded capacity to 5 gigawatts, an investment over $50 billion, an additional 1,000 long-term jobs, and over 1,900 indirect jobs that are going to be created by this project. But essentially 1.6 billion contracts. We also briefly got to hear from the Richland Parish Schools Superintendent Sheldon Jones, and Richland Parish teachers. Last year they got $10,000 bonuses, which was a big deal. This year they got $50,000 bonuses. And we saw a video briefly describing, hearing from some of those teachers and what that means for them and for their future. So just kind of an exciting day. We're going to be working to bring you some of the folks that are most able to describe the impact of this, that we're able to get on the phone and have us join us here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, we are following this, and there's some other things that go along with this. All right, so we've talked about the Meta facility, and, when this facility was originally announced, it was going to be a $10 billion facility, if you remember. That quickly grew to a $27 billion facility, and the original design capacity was 2 gigawatts. Taking it to 5 gigawatts, I was looking earlier today at what the biggest facilities in the country are, and this would take the facility to the biggest in the world. Right now, most of the facilities are in the not quite 1 gigawatt. Most of them are in the hundreds of megawatts. The gigawatt number is something like the Stargate facility. Some of those facilities are in the gigawatt. There were a few that are planned to maybe get up to 2, but now at 5 gigawatts, this will make this the largest facility in the world. Now, other things that are happening that sort of go with this is the infrastructure. And so we've heard about the jobs and things that would come with Meta, but the jobs and things that will also come with the electric delivery. Thousands of jobs as power plants will be built. Thousands more jobs as more than $1 billion in infrastructure improvements are coming. Roads, water, wastewater systems, all of that is going to add up rather quickly. And you've seen, I think it was, a 38% increase in just the tax collections in Ouachita Parish over the last year. And you've got a lot more coming. On the phone with us right now is Mike Downhour. Mike's the president and CEO of the Monroe Chamber. And Mike, your reaction today? Actually, that didn't work. Jay, give me that phone and let me take care of it. Let's see. Let's hit that button. Mike, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
There you go. Now you got me, right? You hear me now, Mike?
Yes, sir, I can.
Tell me a little bit about the excitement in Baton Rouge. And as the Monroe Chamber, this is not just all about Monroe, though. It's about the region, and a rising tide is good for all of us, right?
It lifts all boats. It absolutely does. What started out in 2024 as a $10 billion North America's largest data center, it grew to 27 billion, and some things were mentioned about that. But today, the announcement, 50 billion with a B, $50 billion is what they have announced, with many, many more billions going to Louisiana businesses, starting those right there in Rayville and continuing to all the other ones. So, I mean, all throughout Louisiana. We talked to several people today at the press conference. They talked about, each company and how they're doing, but more importantly, how it's raising the quality of life. The amount of millions and billions they're putting into infrastructure, not just Richland Parish, but throughout the state. Investing into nonprofits, into the Richland education, to the Richland Parish School District, and on and on. I mean, just $2.6 billion in energy improvements that do not get passed on to the consumer. That rising tide helps every single person in Louisiana that at least pays an electric bill.
All right, you guys did a really good job keeping this kind of hush-hush, and then suddenly this morning it all squeaked out there and the words started to come out. When did you guys know this was going down?
We knew the things were coming because when they asked for 8 more utility centers from Entergy instead of the original 2 that were scheduled, when they wanted it to go to 10, man, 10 is, I mean, the number of gigawatts that produces is just unreal. We knew there was going to be an improvement. We knew there was going to be growth. No idea it was going to be $50 billion.
What are some of the other things that come along with this? All right, so Meta has to hire all these folks, but what about folks like energy? I mean, we're going to have to build power plants. We're going to have to build roads and water and lots of things. What other types of things are we not thinking about?
Well, just the power grid. We have not, some of our equipment, some of our power, we find out in storms, is not some of the best in the United States, but every bit of that is improving as the grids improve to help out this data center, and just the roads and the widening of the roads and the a lot of our roads are built on poor bases. Well, when they build roads, they build from the very bottom up, and every bit of that, those are things that we may not see every day, but we drive on it, and we will realize that. Plus 7,500 to 10,000 workers now that are staying longer than the original 4 or 5 years that they were projected to do. Opening up schools in Baton Rouge to produce data workers. They pay you to go to school. They pay you to get your education, and then they guarantee you a job. It's just so many different things like that.
Let me ask this. How far off are we? I mean, originally we were going to have this facility open when, and then how far are we talking about jobs in the future right now?
Years. They did not name a specific date. I believe that may be in the press release, but as weather has been great, there's not been a lot of delays. That's one advantage of North Louisiana. You don't get the hurricanes and things like that come through south and on the Gulf Coast, but it's just saying several more years, and just watching all these things, the equipment coming in. I mean, heavy duty equipment, 100 million tons of aggregate for the base and the foundation, coming up the Mississippi and the Ouachita rivers.
Mike,
it's just all across the state.
We're going to let you get to it because you've got some schmoozing to do down there, and work us out some more deals while you're there today.
I've got Michael Eccles here, too, if you'd like to ask a few questions. Representative Michael Eccles.
Sure. Let me speak with Representative Eccles. And it's Michael Eccles, Representative. And, Mike, good news for Northeast Louisiana.
Yeah, Cory, it's a terrific day. Another great announcement. One with the tens of billions of dollars in additional capital investment. But I think the real exciting news on all this is, our teachers had huge wins with $50,000+. There's hundreds of millions of dollars being injected into our local economy, actually billions of dollars. And with the grid protections and enhancements that Meta has promised to save the consumers that utilize electricity around Louisiana, cutting costs. It's just a big deal and a big day.
Well, we have seen the growth, and I know, for instance, local hotels. I live downtown. I've seen the restaurants suddenly all pop into life, and there's a lot of hope and optimism that comes with this. How far off does this development continue? I know we were talking 5 years initially. What do you think we're talking now into the future with workers being in the area?
Oh, another 5 to 10 years. Now, you'll always have workers in the area. Once you build a campus that they're building right now, there'll be hundreds of people always 100% working to manage and maintain this site. They talked about $1,000+ direct jobs and, another 5,000 construction jobs. But when you've seen these data centers grow around the nation, these jobs stay in the market for decades afterwards. So we're optimistic that, as Meta builds this bigger brain, this bigger technological brain, that you'll have hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs for many years into the future.
All right. That is Representative Michael Eccles. Michael, thank you very much for being with us. We'll let you get to work down there.
Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you. That's Representative Michael Eccles. And in just a moment, we'll also lining up ULM President Dr. Cory Castile, who's down today in Baton Rouge. Again, Meta has made the announcement today that they will expand their Hyperion data center in Richland Parish to 5 gigawatts of computing capacity. That will be at a cost of about $50 billion that will be invested in the area. Now, that is a lot more than it was when we originally talked about this. It was a $10 billion plan, now $27 billion, but now we're talking about a $50 billion investment in Northeast Louisiana. It would be the largest AI infrastructure investment in the world, as there's a lot that goes along with this. And superclusters are a little different than conventional data centers, as they use graphics processing units. You may have a GPU in your home computer and specialized hardware that makes this possible. Joining us live from Baton Rouge, and she went down for the big event, is ULM President Dr. Cory Castile. Dr. Castile, can you hear us this morning?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
Wait a minute. I got to hit another button here. Dr. Castile, you hear us now?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you good now. This is Cory, and here with Jay Curtis, Cory Crowe, at KEDM on the campus of the beautiful University of Louisiana Monroe. This is a big day on the Bayou because a lot of future Warhawks are going to be working there and continuing in their careers, right?
Absolutely. It is a great day on the Bayou. And yes, the opportunities for our future Warhawks and to be working right here in Northeast Louisiana, it's really outstanding. We're very, very much excited about the announcement.
What is the biggest thing that excites you? I mean, it was already pretty exciting, but did you have any idea that this thing could double in size and more than double and create even more investment in Northeast Louisiana?
Yeah, so the magnitude, the sheer magnitude of it is absolutely mind-blowing. And the impact, the potential economic impact and workforce development opportunities that it creates are just endless. And, for ULM and what we see, it's just its possibilities. We've already kind of had a shot in the arm over the last year and what we're seeing in terms of resources being brought into the university. But in terms of jobs and what this can create, it's really amazing. I'll say this, from a rural community and of course Richland Parish being a rural community, it's just really excited to be able to see an investment in that rural community and what it can do to be able to change lives. I've always said, especially for rural students, it gives us a choice to be able to stay home. And when you have workforce development opportunities like Meta or any of the related industries that are going to follow, it gives students a choice where they can be educated here at ULM. They can go back to their communities, get married, reinvest in the communities, go to church, go to the restaurants, support business development and business growth. So it's a great opportunity for ULM. It's a great opportunity for our rural communities, and we're excited to partner.
Dr. Castile, Jay Curtis here. What would you say would be looking at the long-term impact? So when you're looking 10 or 20 years down the road, what does this mean for the impact on this community and how the university can be a part of that?
Sure. So, I think what Meta's looking at is both the skilled workforce as well as the professional workforce. Of course, we partner very, very closely with Louisiana Delta Community College and the community college system. But I'll say this, when it comes to ULM and our strengths, of course, construction management stands out. Meta and through their related contractors, if it's DPR, Martinson, they're already hiring a lot of our construction management graduates, it really speaks, and I think it's a testament to the strength of our program. They often comment about the project management skills that they have, our students, and so they're leaders, and they're able to I think, grow in those jobs and develop, and that's what we want to see. But it also gives us an opportunity to grow and strengthen our programs if it's computer science or cybersecurity, data analytics, information systems, anything AI related. But if you also look at it, is professions across the different disciplines as you see growth in these communities. So if it's healthcare or if it's finance and accounting, or if it's communications, one thing that we saw today is there was recognition of course, the educators in Richland Parish and what Richland has done to be able to support them. So of course, educators throughout of course, the Northeast region, but also in our rural communities. So it's really exciting for us to be able to see ULM as a partner with Meta, as well as any other related agencies that they're working with and businesses. So it's great.
Well, it is a big day, as you would say, on the bayou. We're going to let you get to it down there. I know there's lots of hands to shake and people to meet, so we appreciate you calling in today and taking time with us, and thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Y'all have a great one.
We're going to. We appreciate it. It's Dr. Cory Castile, president of the University of Louisiana Monroe, joining us here. Live special coverage, KEDM, as the big Meta announcement. Today talking about the Hyperion Data Center. Now, you may just hear people call it the Richland Parish Data Center, but Hyperion is under construction on what was the old Franklin Farms land. And going back 10 or 15 years, that land was something that was looked at to maybe be an auto production facility. That's what a lot of people thought was going to happen there, as Franklin Farms was being marketed because it was nearby rail and water, and the interstate was nearby. And that car facility turned out to be Nissan, and it went just north of Jackson, Mississippi, and it didn't end up in Louisiana. So that land has sat there. The state of Louisiana has been actively out searching for a tenant for that. The Meta facility, the original plans were using roughly half of that. I don't know where this will take the facility in the future and how much of that Franklin Farms land is still available there, but the state of Louisiana has invested big into that land and has worked for, this is not a quick thing, this is something that's happened many, many years as they've developed that land and tried to go out and find the right fit for that land. And then recently, in the last couple of years, things began to happen, and you've got a lot of work of local chambers of commerce and local mayors and the governor's office, lots of folks getting involved in courting this data center, and then now what will be I think this would make it the largest data center in the world. I looked up the largest ones right now, and this is at least double the biggest of anything I can find. This is 90.3 KEDM Monroe. You're listening to special coverage of KEDM's coverage of the press conference and event that's gone on in Baton Rouge. We heard from Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, and we have lots of North Louisiana folks down there today. And we've got Rob Cleveland with us from Crowe. He's the president and CEO. Rob, let me make sure you can hear me first before we get going.
Yeah, I got you, Cory. I don't know who teed me up after the governor, but that's a tough act to follow, but I'll try.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now, Rob, this is, I mean, is this now the biggest data center in the world? This is a big, big deal.
Biggest data center in the world, yes, and most likely the largest private sector investment in the history of the United States.
And so we're talking, originally we were talking and we're like, oh, it's going to be $10 billion. And then that grew to $27 billion. And now we're up to $50 billion. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's correct. So that's $50 billion. That's just on the Meta side. That obviously does not include the investment that Entergy's making as well. That'll be maybe even a couple dozen billions. So yes, we are seeing unprecedented billions and billions of dollars being directly invested in Richland Parish, and we're seeing each and every day the economic impact being felt at every level throughout the region.
I want to ask you a little bit about how this all happened. It seems like we've been going out and courting business for a while. What fell into place that in the last couple of years all this just sort of started clicking together?
Well, listen,
That's a long, complicated answer, and I'll try to make it brief. But it really is complicated, and it starts at the top with the governor and the state legislature, certainly, and the policies they enact. So Meta is here for really three reasons. First of all, the state of Louisiana and the legislature, the governor had to enact a sales tax benefit for Meta, and that exempts them from sales tax on the data center equipment, which is a meaningful incentive. So that's one of the things. The second thing is you had to have the site, and so we had 2,200 acres there for with the Franklin family, and certainly more as well now that Meta's announcing their expansion. So you had to have a site that was big enough. And then the third thing, and they're all equally as important, but you need to have a willing power partner in Entergy, and as the governor mentioned today, and Meta has mentioned before, Meta's paying for all of the generation, and that was really a critical piece. You had to have a power company that was willing to meet the needs of Meta, but then also, from a policy standpoint, make sure that the infrastructure that was being built was not being put on the back of the residents. And so all three of those things came in, and then everything else matters once you get the main things. But that's the reason Meta is here. And last thing I'll say on that point, a Meta spokesman today mentioned, the first announcement at $10 billion was really a process of dating, and now with the $50 billion announcement, we're married. And we're married because Meta has been here now for 2 years and understood just how easy it is to do business in Louisiana, and that we follow through on the things that we promise. And Meta's been wildly successful in Richland Parish, and today's announcement just proves that.
This will be a life-changing investment for the region, I think, as we're seeing, in Monroe. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I come to work and I pass a bunch of hotels, and it looks like every hotel room's got a pickup truck parked out front or a dump truck. We're seeing restaurants. We're seeing the tax base growing as tax receipts were more the last couple of years. Where does this end, and does it end? I mean, how far off into the future do we ride this Meta train?
Yeah, so listen, it's a great question, and for the next 5 to 7 to 10 years, we're going to see this kind of economic growth and activity, and it doesn't just stop with Meta. So we've had other announcements recently. Faith Tech, FTI in the east side of Monroe, out in the Millhaven area by the airport, announced. We're going to have many more announcements. So the Meta is the biggest piece. It's the starting point. We have so many other projects coming along with it. And, I think your perspective is very interesting. There's certainly some people who are opposed to what's going on. And I think the important thing for people to realize, unless you live within 5 miles of that data center, your world really has not changed. There's been an unbelievable economic impact, and your neighbors and your friends and the people you're buying things from at businesses. You mentioned restaurants and hotels. All of those places are benefiting. Your neighbors are making more money, and our people we go to church with are making more money, and that's what we want to see happen. But outside of that, you aren't seeing any sort of major disruption in your life. But the economic benefits vastly outweigh any sort of minor disruption. And so we're going to be seeing this for a decade at least. We have many more companies coming. We're actively working. We had a company in last week. They flew back into the Monroe area today. And so we're actively, there's a few of the Gronila team here at the announcement. We have Gronila people back in the office working on new projects as we speak. So there's a lot more economic activity coming, more jobs, more investment, and better careers for our residents.
How I have this question. How much of the Franklin Farm land did Meta use? And I guess after this, how much is still available in that plot of land?
Yeah, so the original Franklin Farm site that was certified has all been absorbed by Meta. There's certainly other property out there, not just from the Franklins, but many other property owners out there. One of the things that we say, Cory, a lot is every piece of property in Richland Parish is for sale. And we say that in jest, and there are obviously some properties that aren't, but there's a lot of big farmland out there that's available, and so there's a lot more opportunity in Richland Parish, but not just Richland Parish. One of the real benefits of this project is that it's opened the eyes to the rest of the region, and we have been able to expand the property opportunities in other parts of the region as well. So whether that's Morehouse or Union, certainly Washita, Franklin Parish, all of the other parishes in the region are benefiting and have more opportunities as well. So a lot of the property out there in Richland Parish, certainly the Franklin Farms property has been absorbed, but there are a lot more properties and opportunities for more business in that area.
Let me ask this question, and I was following something the president, Donald Trump, said in the last couple of weeks, and there's a push on for nuclear power because we just, in general, even before the data centers, we're using more electricity. Are there plans to where do the power plants go, I guess, is the big question. And have you heard any talk of, bringing in nuclear power from other regions? I know the Grand Gulf plant was originally planned for 3 reactors, but they only built 1, and the plant down there in Baton Rouge was built for 3, and only 1 was built. Where does this power come from? Is it natural gas, or is it nuclear, or do you know that yet?
Yeah, so I certainly am not qualified to speak on Entergy's behalf, and that's way above my pay grade. But well, I was recently in Japan with the state of Louisiana and trying to do some business attraction over there, and there's a lot of discussion about natural gas, and I think that's one of the other key facts about this project is that we're able now to use Louisiana natural resources on Louisiana projects that benefit Louisiana residents. And so our natural gas resource is such a tremendous asset to us, and I think it's often overlooked. And that happens everywhere. You have a tendency to overlook the things that are right in front of you that are so beneficial. And so the natural gas assets and that we have in certainly in Northeast Louisiana, but throughout the entire state, really are a differentiator for us in the business attraction standpoint. So I'll let the people smarter than me figure out whether that's going to be natural gas or nuclear or a combination of both. But the natural gas resource really is a tremendous asset to us.
Well, it has been a big day for Northeast Louisiana. We'll let you get back to it, Rob. I know you got more wheeling and dealing to do down there while you got all the people in the room, so we'll let you get to that. It's Rob Cleveland. He's the president and CEO of Crowe. Rob, thanks for taking some time out of your day and joining us.
Hey, really appreciate the opportunity, and it's a great day for Northeast Louisiana.
Rob, thank you very much. Have a good day. That's Rob Cleveland, Crowe president and CEO. Also want to say thanks to Mike Downhour. He's been down there with the Monroe Chamber, but he's kind of rounding up people for us, too, down there. We're making him work, and we appreciate him today taking care of business down there for us. We're here on the campus of ULM in Monroe. All the cool people are down in Baton Rouge right now. That's where it's all happening. And if you're just joining us here in the noon lunch hour, getting in your car, Meta has announced a large investment. As Rob Cleveland just said, we were just kind of going out on a date at $10 million, then at $10 billion. We moved it to $27 million. That was kind of like the engagement. Well, we just got married. $50 million investment. Governor Jeff Landry and Meta have described this as the largest investment project in the history of the United States. It places rural Richland Parish at the center of one of the most significant and economic development stories in our nation. We're seeing local businesses expand their capabilities, form new partnerships, invest in their workforce, and prepare for opportunities that once seemed out of reach. The investment's not only reshaping our rural business community, but redefining what's possible for the future of rural America. And the Richland Parish Chamber is committed to helping ensure local businesses are prepared to grow alongside it. That is a quote from Laura Wood. Laura's the chair of the Richland Parish Chamber of Commerce. And her quote today on the announcement of Meta, and this would take the project to more than double its size. It was planned to be 4 million square feet, and this is going to blow that out of the water. Attention was drawn to this project called Hyperion because it could be scaled up as it was needed, and it has been scaled up quite significantly even before it is built. It is scaled up. We've got multiple folks down in Baton Rouge right now. We're hearing from local lawmakers and policy leaders. And we've got Senator Stuart Cathy with us today. Stuart, you got me?
I do.
This is Stuart Cathy live in Baton Rouge. Stuart, tell me about this. This is a huge win for North Louisiana, not just Richland Parish, but all of us.
Absolutely. This was the culmination of several years' worth of hard work by a ton of people that I can't name them all, that to see it finally come to fruition today is pretty amazing.
This will be something that will create thousands and thousands of jobs, and I guess it will create, millions and billions of dollars of growth in North Louisiana. How are we set for this? Is North Louisiana ready to bring in another 7,500 workers just at the Meta facility?
Oh, absolutely. But I would also say that another portion of the announcement today was the collaboration between the state, the Workforce Commission, as well as Meta, to work on fulfilling those workforce demands. And so where we may have shortfalls, we're going to be able to rapidly fill those.
Talk to me a little bit about that. They made a big announcement today concerning Louisiana Delta Community College.
Correct. $5 million to Delta Community College to train the AI workforce within the Meta facility, which I think is a great start. I don't think that's where we're going to finish, but I think that is certainly a great first step.
The money would be used for things like learning fiber optics, data center operation. One of the big ones is, just because we work in radio, we've got a little room and it generates a lot of heat when you have a lot of computers and equipment. AC technicians are going to be like the hottest thing in demand right now.
My appreciation is that the highest paid guy on the job or on the site when it's done is not going to be a computer programmer. It's going to be the guy in charge of the air conditioner system.
I believe you're right, because at this scale, what will be 5 gigawatts, it will be the biggest AI center in the world. And you got to generate heat, and you got to dissipate that heat. And that's why I guess a good inexpensive power is so important. You're generating power, but you've got to also air condition that facility. Stuart, talk to me a little bit about the Franklin Farms mega site. Now, that site has been in development for years, and the state has been out looking for someone to occupy it. For years, we thought it would be a big car manufacturing facility. How did this all come about, and what's changed in the last 2 or 3 years that suddenly this is a viable place?
Well, yeah, you kind of set the history there. This all started back almost 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago, actually, with the state of Louisiana trying to develop a mega site to hopefully encourage a car manufacturer of some sort of large manufacturing facility to Northeast Louisiana. Obviously, the world has changed, technology has evolved, and so now data centers are part of the new economy. And so this just provided a great foundation for us to start to be the hotbed of a new exciting industry here in Northeast Louisiana that will literally service the world.
Speaking with Louisiana Senator Stuart Cathy, Senator, let me ask you a little bit about this governor and his involvement. The governor said, he showed up in North Louisiana and he said he was going to create economic activity, and everybody kind of rolled their eyes, and then he got to it. What makes this administration different, and what were those hurdles that aren't there to get this done now?
Well, I think the first thing that the governor did was he put together a tax package that incentivizes job creation and business growth. That was the first thing that we had to do to get industry looking at Louisiana again. Second, we had to identify the workforce demands and the challenges that we had to fulfill the needs so that we can address those challenges, which we have done. Third, you had to have a qualified economic development office led by a competent economic development official, which we have both. And so you put all that together, and it is just the perfect recipe for success, which is proven to be true with today's announcement.
Senator, we're going to let you get back to it. I know there's a lot of folks down there and a lot of people you probably need to talk to and meet, but thank you for your time and checking in with KEDM this afternoon. Louisiana Senator Stuart Cathy, again, a huge announcement from Meta that they're going to more than double the facility in Richland Parish. It's called Hyperion, and initially the report was it was going to be a $10 billion deal built in October 2025, and that then moved to a $27 billion deal. Now we're talking that the deal will be a $50 billion deal. Now, Meta has agreed to finance power generation and transmission projects with Energy Louisiana. I'll give you an idea. A nuclear power plant with one reactor makes most of them make about a gigawatt of power. We're going to need a lot of power. We're talking a 5 gigawatt facility, and there will be a lot of work done on the electrical side of things to create this opportunity for Meta. Meta's got to build it, and Energy is going to have to power it. And Monroe Mayor Friday Ellis joins us on the phone right now. Mayor Ellis, this is a huge deal. Even though it's in Holly Ridge, this is huge for Northeast Louisiana.
Yeah, I can't be more proud of my friends in Richland Parish. But, when people say it's in Holly Ridge, how long has Monroe been the workforce hub of this region? Locality in our region doesn't matter. Our labor shed shows that we employ people from South Arkansas, West Mississippi on into Central Louisiana. And this data center will be employing people from around the region as well.
Talk to me about what we've seen, even as this is just at the beginning of construction. I saw that, the tax base has been increasing. Right. The revenues have been coming in. What was the impact of this over the last couple of years to the Monroe budget?
Well, let's just say you can have the tangibles that you can start to measure is, the increased number of occupational permits from people setting up shop here, the increased number of sales tax revenues, around about 12% with the city of Monroe. It's kind of averaging off right now. But you will notice the spikes in the months where you saw the employment surge. All the housing developments and all of the housing purchases from people that are living here for the long term, of this project, which started out as a 5-year project, now starts to look more like 8 to 10 years. 8 to 10 years means a family moving here for the long term of that project, that their child is in elementary school and are going to graduate our high schools. So the impact of their disposable income, their employment here, what that means to our the roles at our school, what that means to people in our community and finding opportunity here, it's tremendous. And so what I tell people, there's the initial investment of Meta, but the bulk of the employment is going to come from the vendors and suppliers who will be here for the long term. So what we're seeing in the activity, my first 4 years as mayor, we might respond to at least 8 requests for proposals coming from the state of Louisiana of companies looking to locate here or consider us for opportunity. Since the announcement of Meta, there's over 70. And what that equals is an additional $30 billion in capital expenditure and a potential for 20,000 new permanent jobs. Now, will we capture all of them? No. If you capture a quarter of it, that is more economic activity than this region has seen in decades. And so it is a very interesting time to be alive. Anything this scale will give us some challenges we have to overcome through, as we heard you talk about earlier, with energy production, with infrastructure and water and sewer and roads to help support this. But the one critical thing that we've got to overcome immediately is a housing shortage right now. And so we have a meeting set up with partners from Meta to discuss ways that, that we can discuss help tackling this housing challenge that we're going to face in the coming years, because there's just not enough housing to support the growth.
Looking at the region, how far does this go out? Are there like folks come into the Meta plant living in Vicksburg? Are they living in Ruston? How far are these folks driving in every morning?
We've heard companies from South Louisiana that are here. I fly on planes all the time, and I hear people from Nevada, California. You can't get on an airplane in Monroe, Louisiana without seeing somebody with a backpack and a hard hat attached to it. People from around the globe are here working in our region. You have to understand a $50 billion investment. Now, listen, 8 months ago, sitting in the White House, Mark Zuckerberg and the president announced this. You remember the famous photo of him holding up the footprint of Manhattan and this site.
Right. It was like three-quarters of the size of Manhattan.
Right. And the current investment didn't equal that. 2,000 acres is not 75% of Manhattan. And the president himself said this will be a $50 billion investment when it's all said and done. That was almost a year ago in the Oval Office. So if people thought he was lying, I would say yes again. So this is amazing to see it happen and scale this fast. But as locals, I think we have a real responsibility right now to tackle some of these challenges that we're going to face, especially when it comes to housing. And we've already had some discussions early on. I know the city has some ideas of running pilot programs for efficiency homes and kind of like some tiny home properties so that we'll be able to take some adjudicated properties, work with developers to be able to stand up some of these developments. But we're going to have to put our creative hats on, but do it in a responsible way that still creates beautiful neighborhoods and respects our building code and community codes and use best practices when it comes to planning and urban development.
I got to ask, you guys did a really good job kind of keeping this quiet, and I was going to let the governor make his announcement at 11, and then I saw CNBC broke it at like 5:30 this morning, saying that the expansion was coming. How long have you known that this was coming our way?
Yeah, so ultimately, I haven't known that it was going to expand. You just read all the context clues with interviews from Mark Zuckerberg, the president of the United States. Nobody has told me that, hey, Mayor, we're getting ready to double the size of this thing. I mean, a person can just only read and deduce from previous interviews from Mark Zuckerberg and the president that this was going to happen. And so today, I got an invite from LED a few days ago about a great announcement in Baton Rouge. Well, next thing I know, I've got multiple people texting me, hey, this is going to be about Meta expanding. And so I have made it a point of mine to say, hey, look, I am, with economic development deals, bring me in when I need to know and when I need to be read in. And I am the mayor of Monroe, and this is a Richland Parish project. And so a lot of that information goes to, people in Richland Parish, and I am a mayor right down the road that's gonna, that's been supportive of this project from day one. And so I haven't known that it was like officially, or nobody has told me that this thing is gonna, expand at this time. You just have to pay attention to the words of the person who's building it and the president of the United States whenever he announces it. And so, like I said, if it was the worst kept secret in the world when the president announces it from day one in the White House that it was going to be a $50 billion project. And so, and also when the financing closed at $27 billion with Blue Owl, again, you have to pay attention to the context clues that are out there, and you can only deduce from everything that's been said in interviews of what's going to happen. And so, man, but I think when you start to wrap your head around $50 billion investment, that this is the flagship, data center for Meta, and it starts to really put to bed a lot of concerns about, Meta's going to pull up, they're going to leave, they're going to do this. You don't pull up from a $50 billion data center. There are 3 data centers that Meta is building that is going to be the central nervous system to global operations for the next 3 years. And one of them, the largest one, is being built in Richland Parish right now.
That is an amazing fact. It's Monroe Mayor Friday Ellis. I'm looking at the GDPs right now. I'm looking at the GDPs of countries, trying to figure out what country this investment is bigger than, and this is bigger than a lot of the countries in the world. GDP. So amazing numbers. Friday, we'll let you get back to it. I know you got a lot of folks down there, and secure us some more deals while you're down there today.
Well, I don't think there's going to be much trying anymore. I think from something this size and this investment, they're going to continue to be rolling in. And like I said, the first domino fell a few weeks ago with the announcement of 200 to 300 jobs. I have a feeling before it's said and done, something of this size and scale, this city is going to scale in a way that we've never seen before, but we're going to do it responsibly, and we're going to do it in a way that still honors our folks who live here first, and then make it a welcoming place for people to understand why we love it so much.
Friday Ellis, Mayor of the City of Monroe. Thanks for joining us today.
All right. Thank you, Francis.
Thank you. Mayor Ellis with the good news from Baton Rouge today, as we're talking a lot more jobs. Just on the Meta side, we're thinking the number we're hearing is about 7,500 jobs just on the Meta side. Now, Meta also announces today about $1 billion in improvements, roads and sewage and water and things that will have to happen in the area. And one of the big things is we want to get our workforce up to date and ready to go when these jobs are available. Now, the jobs aren't quite available all just yet, but as the facility opens, there's going to be a lot of jobs available, but the workforce has to be there for it. One of the folks who's working to train that workforce is Dr. Justin Hongard. He's the chancellor at Louisiana Delta Community College. And you guys had some really good news, and you caught me off guard about 6 o'clock this morning with a press release. And Dr. Hongard, tell everybody what that press release said.
Well, thank you for having me on first, but the press release was that Louisiana Delta Community College would be a recipient of a $5 million donation initially to start addressing some of the workforce training that you were just mentioning. Initially, we really haven't worked out details, but starting with the class 2026, we're going to be able to start providing scholarships to any of those graduates that wish to pursue a career at the Meta site.
And this is workers that will, I know data center operations, but what are some of the other kind of jobs that Meta is going to need?
With this expansion, obviously, we're going to need some more heavy machine operators. I would anticipate some more CDL license, but also the data center technicians that will be part of that as well. That's been our primary focus thus far, and so we're going to be having a conversation soon about how this could potentially grow and what that might mean in a much larger scale.
What does the influx in funding mean to the community college?
Well, I mean, it's obviously that large amount of a donation is a huge impact for our foundation and our ability to provide scholarships in this area. I mean, it's really we're talking about generational transformation. That's what we're talking about, and we're very fortunate to be the recipient of such a large donation. But I will tell you, I mean, you gave me a lot of credit there at the top, but it's because we have a great team at Delta that has really worked really closely with some of the contractors, subcontractors, and the Meta folks to make this happen.
Dr. Hoggard, this is Jay Curtis. My question would be, where does this money first go to work? What are the plans for scaling up? $5 million is a large amount of money for most institutions, including, I'm guessing, Louisiana Delta Community College. Where does this first go to work in building what this will eventually be?
Yes. What we anticipate is that we'll be addressing those needs for the expansion. More data technicians, more, again, the heavy machine operators, but working with them, we would like to expand and start addressing, other needs like, we've got HVAC, electrical. Those are also part of the programming that we'll need because of the expansion. So, let me be very transparent. I'm not trying to be coy or cute or not give you any information. This is, on the heels of this information, this is what we're working with. We know how they want to immediately make this funds available for the recent graduates who, part of their plan was to create opportunity and invest in Richland Parish, and that's what our initial plans are. Is to grow those kinds of programs, help them with their immediate workforce needs, but then scale that out and see what that means for the future and how we can have even more impact, perhaps beyond just the Richland Parish.
And Dr. Hoggard, even before this point, I know you guys were seeing growth and already beginning to work with our workforce and get them where they need to be for Meta's needs.
That's correct. Since I want to say about February, we started some programming with a company called CBRE and our data technicians. We've worked with Turner Construction, IES. These are just to name a few, but we've started this programming, and we've been turning out. We were estimating at this point with IES and CBRE, we've already produced right at 100 data technicians. This is not to mention the students who went through the construction prep little program that we have created to help stand up that aspect of the project.
Dr. Hoggard, I don't know, is there anything else you want to add, Jay? We've got plenty of questions, but we've been talking about it for an hour and a half. I think we've got it all covered. There's a lot to come, and the future looks good. I guess that's a good place to leave it.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we'll have more information as we learn more as well.
Thank you, sir. That's Dr. Justin Hoggard, the chancellor at Louisiana Delta Community College, as they are the recipient of a $5 million donation from Meta. And that donation would cover lots of things. One of the things that's needed is air conditioning, folks. You're generating a lot of heat with a lot of computers. You got to keep it cool. Fiber optics, construction-related activities, heavy machines and equipment. You heard ULM talking about construction and the construction management folks at ULM. All of those things our workforce development. And today we will begin the process of processing what else we're going to need as we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of new jobs, and what just went from a 5-year project to a 10-plus year project. And you've already seen groups like FTI, Faith Technologies, come in and say, we're going to build electrical components in Ouachita Parish, right on Highway 594. They're going to build a production facility that's manufacturing electrical parts. Those electrical parts may be used at Meta in their data centers, but they could be used in other companies as well. And so we're beginning to see other things that go along with it. I've got a buddy of mine who makes salads for a living. That's what he does. He makes salads. He got a call. They're like, hey, can you make us 1,600 salads a day? I think he figured out how to do it. And so this is a big deal for restaurants and businesses. I know a local hotel owner, and he told me, he said, Cory, we're booked up for the next 5 years. He said they leave on the weekend and go back home, and or a lot of them do, and that leaves me a few rooms for the weekends for folks having weddings and parties and whatever, but then they roll back in on Sunday afternoon and are back at it. And so our hotels are nearly at capacity, and we're going to need a lot more housing capacity over the next few years. If you're just joining us, talking today about Meta and the expansion in Richland Parish. It will cover a lot more than just Richland Parish, as it is one of the largest expansions of data centers in history. Even before the center is built, there's already more capacity being announced. We could see 7,500 construction jobs, 1,000 folks working at the center in operational roles. We'll see energy and other power providers need to increase generating capacity. We're going to have to get the power to the plant. We're going to have to build more lines and transmission towers, and there will be a lot of economic activity that will go with this. Meta providing, as you just heard, a $5 million grant to Louisiana Delta Community College. They're trying to train the next generation of local data center workers, and they're, quite frankly, going to have to get with Meta and go, Meta, what do you guys need? And then custom tailor programs towards that. Governor Jeff Landry was at the front end of the press conference, the first person out to speak today. Again, a major announcement began at 11 a.m., talking about this facility. The Meta facility will continue to be a key economic development. Just looking at now, LED has sent out some new information. 7,500 construction jobs, 1,000 operational jobs. A Source Louisiana, a Meta program, will become the primary online portal for local companies seeking subcontracting opportunities. In the last 2 years, Louisiana has seen $150 billion, with a B, dollars in investment. This will expand the Meta facility. It was this morning when I looked it up, well, said it was going to be 4 million square feet. That was where we were at. Now, this new release from the state of Louisiana says it will expand to 10 million square feet, 5 gigawatts of IT capacity, and the home to Hyperion, the largest AI training cluster in the world. Northeast Louisiana will be the largest in Meta's fleet. Meta did say they were going to build a data center in Canada the other day. It's a gigawatt. This is 5 gigawatts. As demand is continuing to grow, Meta's establishing Richland Parish as the cornerstone of the Meta global infrastructure, positioning Northeast Louisiana as sort of the head of driving innovation and connectivity and economic growth. And all this should get better. We should get better electricity because of this. We should all have better internet because of this. Just think about the pipes, the internet coming through the area. 1,900, 7,500 construction jobs at its peak, 1,000 operational jobs. LED, Louisiana Economic Development, estimates the project will result in 1,900 indirect new jobs and 2,700 new job opportunities in Northeast Louisiana. Right now, they've already contracted more than $1.6 billion with local businesses across the region. Jay Curtis is with me, and we've been here. Jay, thank you for manning the phone and lining up folks today. He's been working hard over there. As we're talking about this, we've been babbling for an hour and 40 minutes, but it's all good information for Northeast Louisiana. What are some of your takeaways? I know you've been talking to folks on the phone a little bit, but as you've been listening, what are you hearing?
Well, we wanted to, I was working to try to get in touch with Savannah Morris. She's the executive director of the Richland Parish Chamber, but we do have a statement from Laura Wood, who's the chairman of that board, of the Richland Parish Chamber of Commerce. She said Governor Landry and Meta have described Hyperion as the largest investment project in the history of the United States, placing Richland Parish at the center of one of the most significant economic development stories in our nation's history. We're seeing local businesses expand their capabilities from new partnerships, invest in their workforce, and prepare for opportunities that once seemed out of reach. This investment not only reshaping our rural business community, but it's also redefining what is possible for the future of rural America. And the Richland Parish Chamber is committed to helping ensure our local businesses are prepared to grow alongside it. It's Laura Wood. She's the chair of the Richland Parish Chamber of Commerce. But throughout the morning today, we heard from, obviously, Governor Landry making this announcement, $50 billion now investment for a 5-gigawatt project in Richland Parish. But we also heard from Dina Powell McCormick. She's the Meta president and vice chair. Some of the just notes that I made from her time speaking at the press conference. Louisiana is the envy of every state. She also talked about the partnership. She said, we as Meta want to be the best partners that Louisiana could possibly have. So that just speaks a little bit to the depth of the commitment that Meta is making to Northeast Louisiana. She did put a little plug in for small businesses using AI. She says 20% of small businesses are using AI. They're seeing doubling and tripling of their business. So she's working to get the other 80% on board. She announced or reiterated the recent announcement of the America's Workforce Academy. So this is a 5-week fast-track training program that at the end of the 5-week program, America's Workforce Academy from Meta, you get not only a license, but also a guaranteed job at a Meta site. So they're working to already take in applications for the America's Workforce Economy. She says over the course of the entire company, they have 500,000 open jobs. So plenty of places for those to go to. She also said really great things about what it means to partner with Louisiana and specifically with Northeast Louisiana. She said one of those reasons for the partnerships for the people of Northeast Louisiana, their work ethic, their values, their faith, and the community. So that's just a little bit of an idea of what we heard from Dina Powell McCormick, the Meta president and vice chair.
It's been a big day for Northeast Louisiana, a big day for just Louisiana in general. And we've talked to a lot of leaders today about how this came about, and it sounds like it came about relatively quickly. I talked to a leader Friday afternoon, and I said, all right, I get it, but why is it happening so quickly? And they said, well, Louisiana has removed a lot of red tape, and so it has become much easier to stand up a business in the state of Louisiana. And they said that's really the big difference in what's going on.
So when we went to Northern Exposure with the Monroe Chamber back in early May, we heard from the Louisiana Secretary of Economic Development, Susan Bourgeois. That's one of the things that she said is they created a fast-tracking team. And I continue to ask other elected representatives of, what does it take for, we talked with Friday Ellis, what does it take for Monroe to have a fast-track team to be able to grow or expand a business? What does it take for Ouachita Parish to be able to have that fast-track team? So I think it's a model that you're going to see emulated and copied by a lot of other municipalities, both around Northeast Louisiana, and really nationwide, to be able to have as little red tape as possible when a company decides they want to make some kind of a major investment like that, to be able to streamline it.
This is 90.3 KEDM. Cory Crowe, Jay Curtis, and I need to say thanks to a couple of folks, don't I, Jay? I need to thank Kenneth Sanders, our engineer. Kenneth, you in there?
He's down the hall.
Oh, he's still here.
Great
He
job.
stayed during lunch. I figured he went to go eat chicken or something. Thank you. Kenneth Sanders, our engineer, making us all sound good today. Candace Tingles, she's been working the
Helping us with
phones
the phones,
today. Jay, appreciate you. Mike Downhour, President and CEO of the Monroe Chamber. And I didn't tell you, like, you got to be sneaky when you're a news guy sometimes. I didn't know what the announcement was. I knew there was a big announcement. I called Jay Friday night. I was like, something's going down, Jay. It's a big deal. And he's like, well, what is it? I was like, oh, no. But it's a big deal. And so I would call people, and I just go, hey, man, are you going down to Baton Rouge for that big thing? And a couple of people's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to the big thing. And I was like, cool, man. And then I learned there was a big thing going on. So I appreciate everybody kept it top secret.
They did.
Nobody leaked. Good job.
And so Mike Downhour was there when we called him to say, hey, could we get an interview on the phone? He says, yeah, I'm right here in the room with all these people. Who do you want? Who do you want to get? So he was able to run down some of these other officials to be able to say, hey, could you talk just a minute for live coverage for KEDM? So we appreciate you, Mike.
Let me tell you again, if you're just joining us, 7,500 jobs is what we're talking about. Construction jobs. That is more than doubling what was already going on at that facility in Richland Parish. That's on the meta side. We're going to need to build some power plants. We got to do water and roads. And, I mean, we got to do po' boys. I'm getting hungry. We got to do po' boys and fried chicken, and we got to feed people. And this is going to be a really big deal for Northeast Louisiana.
It really is. It really is. Huge deal.
12 minutes till the top of the hour. What do you think, Jay? Is it time to go?
I think we've got some classical music. Kenneth was working on that for us to be able to have us ready. He says we're ready to go.
I'll tell you what then. Let's leave it there. You've been listening to special coverage of 90.3 KEDM. This is listener-supported public radio, special coverage of the Meta expansion, and we'll continue to have more information on our website, KEDM.org. You'll see it on Facebook. You can go back and watch this video from the beginning in just a moment when we stop the stream. And it's a big day. We'll have a continued reaction tomorrow from all of our local leaders and politicians and such coming up. So, Jay, I want to say thanks to you. Appreciate you being here. Listeners, classical folks, thanks for bearing with us today. And Meta announcing a $50 billion expansion project in Richland Parish. That is a huge, huge deal. You're listening to 90.3 KEDM. Special coverage. Back to the music.